Is it just me, or is it absolutely mind blowing that people are still eating fast food today? In addition to that, not only fast food, any kind of ground meat, deli meat, pepperoni, sausage, hot dog. Before the Epstein files were released, I was trying to tell you guys about what's in the meats, but those videos were disappearing. Now that the Epstein files have been released and we're allowed to talk about it, you may have heard that there's human DNA found in fast food chains. And in the States, the FDA allows up to 6% human meat into human edible products. At this stage of the game, you're either in denial or not trying to hear the truth. If I ever start dating again, a prerequisite for me, an immediate red flag, and I'm at a place where, it's a one strike you're out. So when I start dating again, if I ever start dating again in this lifetime, if I find out the girl of my dreams is currently eating McDonald's, it's like, okay, see you later. In fact, if they haven't not eaten McDonald's for at least a year, if they haven't woke up at least a year before we've met, then that's an issue for me. Quitting on the spot's not going to do it, because I don't want to be licking the sweat off your neck when we're having sex, knowing that there's human DNA coming out of your pores, right? Start looking into the companies that McDonald's are tied to, companies that deal with human body parts, and they have their own meat processing facilities. Remember, we just found out who's been running the planet for eons and what they're into. And one of the biggest disgraces, one of the funniest things that they can do is feed other humans human meat without them knowing, because it's one of the biggest disgraces you can do in the face of God. I haven't touched fast food garbage since 2012, when my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and I started doing research into it, into the ingredients, because she lived on that shit. And then I started finding out that there's 50 ingredients to make one fry, and all the chemicals that are sprayed on the potatoes, and then the quality of meat and the fillers and what's going in it. And eventually I found out about the human DNA. It makes me want to absolutely vomit thinking I used to eat this shit, but back in 2000, early 2012, I was still eating this shit. And the transition at first is not very easy. I'm not gonna lie. I went from eating shit to, going through phases where I quit drinking for 7.5 years. I was a vegetarian for 5.5 years. And, I made that transition from eating like shit to a much healthier diet, organic, non-GMO. And I went on this huge health kick. And I will say it's scary, frightening to your taste buds and your mind at first. But what I've come to realize is that the more you learn to love yourself, the less shit you want to put into your body when it comes to food. When you start realizing, when you start paying attention to the food you eat and how your body reacts to it, how you feel energetically afterwards, and you're like, hey, wait a second, why do I feel like I need to be in a coma for the next 2 hours after what I just ate that massive extra large pasta with extra cheese baked on top and fucking Parmesan put on top. Oh my God. Right? I just ate it all. And now I feel like crashing. You eat fruit, pay attention to how you feel after. You eat a salad, pay attention to how you feel after. I know the crossover to eating healthy is a scary journey, but it can be done. I did it. Here's a little example when it comes to the food you put in your body. Let's say you're the average person on planet Earth. You drive a Honda Civic, you're on a budget, you put the cheapest gas in your car to save money, but now you're gifted a Lambo and you have an extra spot in your garage. So now you have a Lambo and a Honda Civic. Just because you're on a budget, you take that Lambo to the gas station eventually after driving it around, and you understand that putting the cheap gas into your Lambo is going to harm the engine, even though that's what you've been doing with your Honda Civic. So you, for the first time ever, put in the most expensive gas you can into your Lambo. The reason is because you respect, you love, and you want your Lambo to run at its best. So why do you not have that same love for that car as you do yourself? And the more you learn to love yourself, the more you'll start seeing yourself as that Lambo that only deserves the best quality fuel. With that said, I realize everyone has their crutches and it's hard to be perfect, but you have to be good at least in some areas. You don't want to be failing in every department, right? If you're still eating fast food in today's day and age, it's because you're choosing to be ignorant, and if you truly knew what the fuck was in it, you would not be eating it.